Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Rebecca Black. I'm the Bexa boss lady, and I appreciate you taking the time to stop by today. There's been quite a bit of drama going on in the reselling world this past week, and I've been getting a lot of messages and DMs like, do you know what's going on? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. And frankly, I really am not interested in getting involved in this. I don't have a vested interest, meaning I didn't buy any boxes. I don't know Nicole. I have never really interacted with her except maybe a few Instagram messages. So my perspective from this whole thing is going to come from a non-emotional, rational take on what happened and how in the future we can stop these things from happening in the future, hopefully providing a bit of an education about this and as well talking about some of your consumer rights. Now, if you're not familiar, there recently has been a reseller. This reseller, Nicole State, started a company with a few other people called the Myrch and was providing reseller boxes to other resellers to be able to sell for a profit. There's a lot of things going around about this reseller, about Nicole. But honestly, like I said, I don't really know anything about her except some things that have kind of like come out publicly. Many years ago, there was an incident with another reseller, Lindy Glenn. And since then, it just really like turned me off to any content she would create. It was that, and then she had another company called States Place. They sold on eBay and things like that, and she had a YouTube channel. She started States Crates, which ideally I believe she wanted to be like Stitch Fix, but using reseller clothes. It was a subscription-based monthly box that you would get, items sent to you in your size and style and whatever. Personally, I don't think she understood the demand that she would have for the boxes, and the quality of the boxes suffered because of that. So that was kind of like a failed venture. You know what? Stuff happens. She tried it. That's great. The big thing was the reason that she's not selling on eBay anymore and only selling on Poshmark, allegedly, is because several hundreds of boxes sent out with the incorrect postage. It was sent with like the lowest shipping cost. When you send 500 packages with an 8-ounce shipping or less for first class, and they end up costing much more, you can imagine that eBay was not very happy. She no longer sells on eBay and jumped right into Poshmark and has really exclusively been selling on Poshmark seemingly for the past couple years. This Myrch company popped up. It seems to be kind of like all the other ones that pop up: Quicklots, B&G Trading, Jomar. They buy liquidation and then try to make a profit off of it, selling it to resellers. Because most of the time these liquidation companies will only sell you stuff in like bulk amounts. You can't get these kind of smaller quantities of items from places. So usually if they do, like Jomar or Quicklots, or the way B&G Trading did, is they sell them in smaller things. They promote it to resellers who have followers and subscribers. They send them really good stuff, and then at the end of that, people buy them, and they're not anything close to what the actual influencers were getting in their boxes. So there seems to be this trend every 6 months to a year, another kind of liquidation pops up, and it's just a pattern that continues to happen ever since I've my Instagram account. The Myrch sold these boxes. I felt they were very overpriced. I did read some of the descriptions for what you would get. I looked at some of them. They sold out very quickly. So, I would never have purchased one at those price points, knowing what I know just about Nordstrom liquidation, Nordstrom Rack liquidation, and things like that, especially at those prices. There was a lot of promotion for these boxes, just like there was a lot of promotion with another reseller who did a big promotion with Quicklots and was selling suitcases and premier boxes, showing all sorts of stuff on Instagram. No one actually ended up getting any of that stuff in their boxes. Ultimately, a few things happened here. The first thing is the hammer came down on Nicole fast and swift regarding this fiasco with the Myrch. However, she did have partners and she did have volunteers helping her with this venture. What is frustrating for most people is that she, of all people, would never buy these boxes. She would never recommend these to people. She would never buy them. She is very open about her selling strategy. She buys low, sells low in very high quantities. She is more of a volume seller, which is fine. Everyone has their own business models. But when you run that business model, you can't then recommend these kind of really expensive boxes that people aren't going to make a profit. She and the people who were with her all know that what this stuff is going to sell for on the secondary market. And so there is this, there's this just feeling that, people were taken advantage of with this launch. The other part of the problem that went into this is there was a lot of promotion, both this and the Quicklots fiasco. They are promoting things and misleading people into what the potential profit is for these items and for these boxes. So saying things like, oh, you'll definitely make 2 or 3 times your money, this very high resale value, retail value, these brands, et cetera, et cetera. Once people started unboxing these boxes, there is literally no way you could earn that much money with these boxes. It was a similar bait and switch thing where people were being shown really great things going into boxes, and then no one actually was getting these boxes. So the example of a premium Nordstrom box did not actually match what the shown perception of what was going into these boxes was. The first red flag for me with all of that was that the really nice things were being auctioned off or sold separately from the bulk of the stuff. To me, that was kind of shitty to do. And I know I don't normally swear in my videos, but it was really crappy to pull all the really good stuff and put it separately instead of, sprinkling those things inside of the boxes, because I guarantee you if people would have purchased these and had one Gucci item plus whatever else was actually in these boxes, they could have actually made their money back or close to the, made a profit on these boxes. But again, that was not the case. And the quality of the items did not match what was being told either. Magnetic tags on them, which, liquidation has magnetic tags. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. You're trying to do such a huge venture like she did, it would be impossible to take all the sensors off. However, to me, that was told. So people knew going in that they would potentially have to buy a sensor for these products. So to me, people are outraged by that. I don't really see that as a big deal because, like I said, liquidation often comes with sensors. Was said in one of the promotions that they would have the sensors on them. Another red flag, which is a big red flag for me, was the website was scrubbed after some of the reviews started coming in. So once some negative feedback started rolling onto social media, the website got scrubbed. There became nothing available. It didn't say sold out anymore. It was just a blank Shopify website with the merch on it. I don't know if it screams we know we did something wrong or we don't want people to go back and look at what we actually had on there. To me, that means you're hiding something or you're backtracking on things. So, most companies don't erase their whole website once they have some negative press. So that is another red flag to me. So to summarize, all sorts of things happened wrong with this. There was a misleading profit potential. There was exaggerated quality of items. The merchandise didn't match the descriptions. There seemed to be a bait and switch for what the promotion was saying versus what you were actually getting. And then the website was scrubbed after all of this. So those all things I think were big things that I picked up on, but I don't know if a new reseller or a new business person would necessarily know this stuff. I just wanted to give a summary of what's happening, and now I'm going to go into some advice. The first thing is, please, 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 if you are starting a reselling business, remove the I hope I make my money back, or I can at least make my money back, or, maybe I'll be able to recoup my costs for this, because that is a hobby. So if you buy a bunch of ingredients for a cake and you make a cake and you like decorating cakes and you sell that cake for $30 and the $30 covers your flour and your eggs and your coloring and all that stuff, that's a hobby. It's something you enjoy to do. You don't want to make money on it. And it's just something that helps you recoup the cost of your hobby, okay? A business needs to make money and needs to make a profit. So the fact that people are barely going to get their money back or barely breaking even on these boxes, that is absolutely not a smart business decision. The next thing is that the retail price of an item and the resale value of an item are two completely different things. Yes, it is very exciting to get things with a high retail tag on them, but it's very difficult to get anywhere near those prices unless it's something that's like a highly coveted item. I think I saw an accessories box and the person was like adding up all of the retail value of the box and was happy with what she got. Well, because the MSRP was so high, the retail price of the items were so high. But I mean, some of the items in there, like old iPhone cases. Yes, they might be Kate Spade iPhone cases and they may have retailed for $48, but right now, who needs a case for an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 6 Plus or whatever, the older style phones? But while there might be a high retail value or retail price on them, a $28 Topshop headband isn't going to sell for nearly that on the secondary market, even if it's new with tags. Knowledge that comes into play with this of understanding what the retail value is and what the actual resale value is. There are things that I have left in the stores that have retail stickers on them for like $200, $300. And I know they won't sell for more than 40 or 30 bucks. And they're going to sit in my closet forever. So there's just some brands that, have a high retail value, but they have a terrible resale value. So BCBG Max Mazzaria is one of those brands. They have beautiful things. It's expensive in the stores, but they have a terrible resale value. That's a brand that I'm very careful when I pick it up. Another thing is, if you looked at one of the specialty boxes, it was 5 rag and bone items for, I don't know, I think they were like $50 each or something. And in one of the boxes, there was a cashmere beanie or something. Well, it just said 5 rag and bone items. Sometimes you just have to chalk it up to learning mistake, a bad business decision. If you're going to get technical about it, you got 5 rag and bone thing. One of them just happened to be a hat, or another box had a scrunchie as one of the items. $20 per item and you get a scrunchie, that is not a good box. The problem is, even though these are the items you got in these boxes that matched the title or whatever you want to call it, there definitely was misleading of profit potential, because not one box have I seen that you could make double, even triple the money that you paid for these boxes. That's where the biggest problem lies. It's not necessarily that the boxes didn't actually match the description of the item. It's that what was being promoted and what was being told to people about what they can expect. I believe Quicklots did the same exact thing. They had an influencer come, did a lot of promotion on having designer and fancy things in these boxes. They sold a ton of boxes and suitcases and things like that. And then people got them, and the expectations that were set for what they were going to get did not actually meet what was in the boxes. There was this complete mismatch of expectations and reality versus what was being promoted and what was being told as a potential profit for these items. The last thing I'm going to mention about Nicole is she was the voice and the marketing person for this company. She was the one that promoted it. And if you haven't watched the Fry Festival video or documentary about the Fry Festival, the Fry founder, and I forget his name, paid a bunch of celebrities to promote this Fry Festival, gave them false information to promote it, and then obviously when they got there it was a fiasco. The people who went actually brought lawsuit against some of the influencers like Kendall Jenner and I think Gigi Hadid or whatever her name is. I think they were some of them. Actually brought lawsuits against them for false advertising and for making promises about what this festival was going to be like. So there is some responsibility there on her end, that she was promoting this so hard and providing people with information that was not correct. What is the learning lesson for this? Number one, only use a credit card to buy any of these kind of things. You are only going to have protections as a consumer, and it'll be much easier if you use a credit card. Also PayPal, but that's only if you buy things, goods and services. Do not ever Venmo someone money, Zelle someone money, Facebook Pay or whatever. Just don't do that. Also, if you use your debit card that has a Visa, I think you are in protection with that, but you might want to just check with your bank. Moral of the story is use a credit card for any of these kind of purchases. Number 2, sometimes we just have to chalk these up to bad business decisions. Sometimes you get caught up in the moment and you buy something, it ends up being a bad business decision. And let me tell you, you learn more from those decisions and those bad buying decisions than you will from any YouTube video or course or class that you take. And sometimes it takes learning a hard lesson. I know many of the people who purchased them expressed frustration that they were single moms. They don't have the opportunity to go out and source, and this was money they had to source, things like that. So obviously, I absolutely feel terrible if that's the situation. Unfortunately, as a business owner for a very long time, I know that I've lost money when I don't have any money, and I've lost money when I do have money. So if you are going to go into the world of business, there's obviously an implied risk here that you could lose money. The third thing is always reach out to the company first. Make sure that you at least give them the opportunity to make it right. Send them everything in writing. I don't call anybody. I email or do a chat. I just don't trust that my information will be relayed properly if it's through a phone call. Number 4, do your research before you buy anything. I know there was a lot of hype around this product. People thought they were going to sell out. As this is a great example, sometimes it's better to just let it sell out and have that FOMO for a minute just to see if it was actually worth it. Because if it had been a great launch and everyone loved these boxes, I promise you they would have continued to do this and there would have been many more opportunities to get the boxes. So do your due diligence on anybody and any company that you are planning on spending money for your business. And finally, the moral of this is know your rights as a consumer. Now, I will do a whole nother video on chargebacks just because I think that there's a lot of people interested in that, and it's not just resellers. I don't want to have people have to go through this whole video just to get to this part. In order to do a chargeback, the item you got needs to not match what was described or promised to you. Now, if these were just purchased online and you got these boxes and no one said anything else about them, I honestly don't think that they would be a chargeback worthy product, because I do think many of them were as described. They just didn't match what was being promoted and promoted as earning potential. And so that's where the problem with these lie, is that the promotions and what was being promised or touted as earning potential did not match what they actually got. And so there was a bit of a bait and switch there. That's why I feel like this and Quicklots both did that, and if your box didn't match, what the expectations were, that's when something should come into play. So you reach out to the company. If the company is not willing to work with you, not willing to help you, then you can contact your credit card company. Don't just do chargebacks just to do chargebacks, because that is not fair to the company. You wouldn't want someone to do that to you. But I do think that there is a time and a place for them. And so, for instance, for me, I ordered the We Bargain box. I posted about it on YouTube, and then it wasn't anything that was described. There was nothing with the retail value that they promised. So I was able to get my money back for that box, despite it being out of like their 3-day verification window or whatever stupid thing they had on their website. There are ways to do that. Like I said, I'll do another video going through kind of the steps and how you go about that process to help anybody who doesn't know how to do that. Make sure you're being fair. If the box really is what it was promised and you just don't like it, it's not fair to do a chargeback, because you did buy something that was just remorseful. You know better now and you won't do it again. This is my rational take on the current situation. and my advice for anything that like this that happens in the future. It's unfortunate that this happened, and hopefully now that a lot of these things are out in the open, we can use these as learning opportunities for the future. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this helped a little bit, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.